Howdy folks, how we going? Welcome to the brewery. Today we're doing Extractaganza number 416. Hang on, no that's not right. Number 37. 37? 37! Feels like 417, but anyway. What I'm doing today, and this one came out of just out of sort of left field a little bit, is the Cooper's Craft Beer Recipe of the Month kit. I've previously done a Cooper's their standard recipe of the month, which is like a full extract tin brew. It was the what about a Superdelic XPA or something, Pale Ale, something along those lines. But anyway, this is the current craft recipe of the month. This is a Red Rock Strata red IPA. Here be the box. I've left everything in here from when it turned up. This is a $42 including shipping, this box. Now the reality is I worked it out, and over the cost of buying the stuff individually and paying for postage, I probably saved about somewhere between $5 and $7 on the total. But if you can get this stuff, and the reality is you can get most of this stuff more directly, you can certainly do it cheaper. But base of the kit is a Mr. Brew tin. This is all the craft recipe months are all Mr. Brew. Sorry, Mr. Beer. And these are designed to go into the Cooper's smaller fermenter, which I don't have, but we'll just use our bloody 20 litre fermenters, that will be fine. So this comes with a tin of Bewitched Amber Ale. These are a 1.3 kilo tin. So it's not half of a normal tin, it's for the 3/4 of one. The kit also comes with 250 grams of light crystal malt, which you've got to crush. It comes with 250 grams of golden liquid malt extract. That's all our sugars in this brew. Comes with a pack of carbonation drops for the bottles, and 25 grams of Strata hops. Finishing thing, 15 gram packet of American Ale yeast. Just says brewing on the front, but on the back it does say American Ale. 15 grams, so that's perfect amount of yeast for this brew. So we can get that box out of the way for the moment. Go to the instructions, which come in the box as well. So initially it says place all the light crystal malt into a plastic Ziploc bag and crack. So given I've got an actual mill, I'm going to run that through the mill very quickly. Righto, through the magic of television, we have 250 grams of crystal malt milled. So as I said, you can just use a rolling pin if you haven't got a mill, and crack it up. So then it's in a good sized pot. What we've got here, got me 6 litre stock pot over here. Bring 2 litres of water to approximately 60-70 degrees. I'm sitting at 67 degrees. Beautiful. Let's steep for about 30 minutes. So in she goes, just like that. Let me find something to stir that with. Alright, I'll just give that a bit of a poke around. Make sure the grain's all got some water on it. And I'm going to let that sit for 30 minutes. I'll put the lid on, try and maintain temperature as best I can. And come back when that's done. Okay, it's been half an hour. I've given this a little bit of a stir about halfway through, just added the heat on just for a little bit. It was getting down to just around 60 degrees, so I just put it back up a little bit more. Now instructions say to take this bag out now, drain it. Being careful because it's a bit warm. Get as much of that goodness out as we can though without going too silly. It says now to bring it up to a boil for 5 minutes, and this is just to knock out any bugs that are in the grain. So we'll carry on with that. Righto, 5 minute boil is done. Okay, now I'm going to branch off the instructions just a little bit, just because it's simpler for me to do. But at this point, the actual instructions say to remove the pot from the heat and set the pot in a cold ice water bath to cool for about 15 minutes. Then straight into your fermenter. Now, I'm not gonna go with that. I've got a little bit cold, couple of litres of cold water in the freezer. It's going to be a little bit cool, but I'm happy if it sits for a while before I pitch these. But this I feel works a little bit easier for me. So basically, Coopers want you to cool this, and then once it's cool, top this up to about 5 litres with cool water, and then progress on with the next step. So I'm jumping to there because I think, in all honesty, it's going to be a little bit easier this way, for me anyway. So, got me tin. It's been sitting in some, well, what at the time was boiling water initially, just to help it soften up. Now this is not in the instructions, but this is pretty standard practice for a tin. You let the extract soften up, and the reality is I probably should have done it with that pack as well, but I didn't. So, just a bit of sanitizer here, just get everything nice and safe. Okay, we open the tin. Now I'm opening the bottom of the tin because the top of the tin's too recessed, and can opener's not going to get in there.
Just going to move your car up to the top so we can get the van out.
Well, good mate. Righto. And in we go. So if this extract now is a lot softer and easier to work with, which is what I want. And it makes it easier to dissolve into here, into the liquid, if it is hot and a bit runnier. I'm going to pop just a little bit of this into the tin. Just to help me get all this out. With a normal kit, you just stick some bloody boiling water in there out of your kettle, but we haven't got enough. I haven't got enough volume to play around with. Okay, so that's our tin in. I'm going to have a pack of dry malt, liquid malt, and Just squeeze him in. And that's pretty thick and gluggy, so yeah, it definitely would have been easier had it been put into the jug of hot water with the tin. But, hey, that's what the instructions say. What's that taste like? That tastes alright. Right, so get that mixed in there. Now, the tin had that little yeast sitting on top of it under the lid. Obviously, that's what they'd normally expect you to use. But I said we got the good size pack there. So this fella, I'm just going to dump straight in here. Mix it in there. That yeast will die. That temperature's too hot. That's going to kill the yeast, but it will provide some nutrients, a bit of food for the yeast when we pitch it into the fermenter. Okay, now at this point I'm going to get back on track with the instructions. We're just going to skip back a little bit, and I'm going to now take this, I'm going to stick him in the laundry tub for about half an hour, just while I have lunch. Righto, here's our pot fresh from the water bath, cooled. 32 degrees. That's going to work absolutely fine. So, this point the instructions are saying add this to the fermenter, top it up to 8.5 litres, and pitch the yeast in the temperatures between 18 and 22. That's it. That's their target. So don't be too concerned if it goes over. Basically, a way of saying just get the yeast on it anyway. We're not going to have any problem. We're going to be well within range. Now, dry hop. This fella goes in. They're saying, and this is a little bit confusing on the instructions. Fermentation will be close, 1822, don't be too concerned. Once the foam has subsided, add the Strata hops. Recommend wrapping in a mesh cleaning cloth, pull straight from the wrapper, and allow to dry hop for 2 days. Once the foam has subsided, I suppose that's you're saying that the ferment is done because the krausen start to drop. So reasonable, but no one's taken a gravity reading to really check. Then it says after 2 days, take a specific gravity reading. Fermentation is finished once the specific gravity is stable over 2 days. So I suppose worst case scenario, you went 3 or 4 and you dry hop with him for a little bit longer. So these are going to go into the dry hop 2 days before end of ferment, which I will confirm with some bloody hydrometer readings. Expect readings finish in the range of 111 to 116. Fill your PET bottles, blah 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 blah. Allow 2 weeks, all the rest of it. Now, says to use the carbonation drops which they've supplied. Expect the alcohol content to be approximately 6.5% ABV. Now, I'm not going to bottle prime these, So I'm not going to have carbonation drops to add that little bit of extra AB alcohol. So instead, I'm going to drop some dextrose straight into the brew. I've got a bag here. This is about 160 grams. It's just a bag floating around, and I'm just going to dump that in. I don't know exactly what this is going to add. I would estimate somewhere around 0.4%, which is pretty close what a carbonation drop's going to get me. So just mix that into this. And that'll give this just a fresh stir. I'm getting shit all over me. White shirt's always a good one to wear when you're bloody brewing. That's just a little John suggestion. Get yourself a nice white shirt to brew in. I don't know. That's good to go. Fermenter. All nice and sanitised. This is my 20 litre Keg King Junior. It's not the smallest fermenter I have. I do have some 15 litres, which would have worked, but then on pressure, and I like the pressure ferment. Just for the easy transfer and simple process, not having to add priming sugar to the bottles and having them ready to go straight from the fermenter. So let's get this in. Two bottles I had in the freezer, and they have actually started to freeze. They're in there longer than I sort of expected. But anyway, we'll get them in as best we can. So we're looking to top up to 8.5 litres. And ideally I'd like to be around 18 degrees if I can, but as I say, really anything under 22 is going to work. Now I've got less water in here than you would at this moment because I didn't add that extra, I didn't top up that before cooling. So I'll go for some extra tap water and we'll get the last of this in. And okay. Oh no. And that is close enough to 8.5 litres for my liking. We got a decent amount of oxygen in there from that bloody, from the pour. So don't need to do anything more. Let's not miss any goodness. Any of that good stuff. Well, righto. So I now need to still myself a sample of this, which is never an easy task, but that seems alright at the moment, but hard to tell. We've still got bloody hops and stuff to go in. So as I said, so I'll be dry hopping probably somewhere around day 7, somewhere around there. We'll just see how it progresses. So the plan will be to just dry hop for 2 days prior to cold crash. Here she goes. So this is going to go in the fridge. Right now I've got Cornell sitting in the fridge. It's sitting on 18 degrees. I'm going to stick this in next to it for the moment. And let it do its thing. So I'll see you in about 2 months, which will be very shortly, and we'll get a taster on this fella. Righto folks, tasting day. Today is the 5th of December. This beer was bottled on the 5th of October. You guessed it, it's 2 months old, 9 weeks to the day. Actually probably not 9 weeks, well, close enough. Let's be accurate for the sake of accuracy. The 5th was the Saturday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8 weeks and 4 days. Close enough to that, 9 weeks. Anyway. Let's go. Proper IPA glass. Get her on. So this fella has done a decent ferment. It's got a lively carbonation. I'm just being a little bit careful here. He wants to try and climb out of the glass, but anyway. We'll get it topped up while we have a bit of a yarn about how she's progressed through the ferment and whatnot. So yeah, ferment ended up being about 16-17 days. Went for 5 days at 19 degrees, at which point I dry hopped the 25 grams of Strata that come with the pack. Let it go another 5 days. At that point the gravity had dropped to 10-13 and I cold crashed. Dropped it to 2 degrees and it sat there for another 7 days. It took me a little bit longer than planned to actually get it bottled, but anyway, and I said bottled on the 5th of the 10th. So this fella's just been sitting here in the garage in bottles. Their bottles have been in the fridge for a couple of days. They're good and cold. A couple more days might have toned that carbonation down a little bit. It's not excessive, but as I said, I did need to be careful pouring that glass, which I think she would have jumped out on me. But we got a fairly typical tin smell for this type of brew. There's a bit of malt. You know, there's some toffee caramel notes. You know, that bit of that sweet smell. It looks quite nice. It's good and clear. So again, it's not going to pick up over there on the light, but when I get over here and get the light behind it, it is quite red. The colour's pretty good. Looks a bit more brown that way, but with a bit of the, definitely got a red tinge. But anyway, nice thick head. Let's taste her. Oh, okay. Oh shit, that's got some. Oh, that's got some tang going on. It's a combination. I think it's a little bit of carbonation, a little bit of bite from the carbonation. There's a little bit of that carbonic sort of a bite, but there's definitely some multi twang going on there. There's very initially some quite, nice sweet caramel malt, but that's very much quickly taken over by a good whack of bite you don't want. Second mouthful's a bit better. It's not quite so savage, and it is quite carbonic. There is a lot of it. I think a lot of that is driven from the carbonation. But yeah, there's something just not great in there. Yeah, beyond that carbonation, which is a little bit too high for the style, we certainly would like to send a bit lower. They do talk about 2 carb drops in the bottle. I would certainly be not going with 2 carb drops. In a long neck, I'd certainly be going maybe 1.5 at most. Try to keep that down a little bit, let it go be a little bit more sweet, but there's definitely some roughness on the back. Yeah, I really can't say too much good about it. Like, I think if you let the carbonation settle, I think that's going to let the sweetness come up a little bit, which would probably make it maybe a bit more bearable. But I think that's the best it's going to be, is bearable. And again, bearable's a very personal thing. I'm certainly not going to, I don't think I'm ever going to find that bearable no matter what happens to it. Some people might. Yeah, I definitely don't put myself in that same box. It's a shame. I was hoping that these craft packs from Cooper's would be just a little better than the standard kit. Maybe produce something a bit more interesting, a bit more lacking that rotten twang and shit. But it's just as we know, it's just there. Look, I do think that with a lower carb level, there are going to be people, I think, who would actually enjoy this. I said it is quite malty. It's rich. It is lacking a little on the hopping for a red IPA. I don't know that Strata's the best option. Something a little bit more earthy and solid may have been a better option, but it's not exactly. I mean, it's not the reason that the beer's lackluster. Yeah, I mean, it is getting easier in the mouth as that carb level does as the carb dies off and it gasses off a little bit. But there's still that you know, unmistakable kit taste at the back end. So as I said, if you're one of those people that can tolerate the kit taste, who put up with it, then yeah, it's probably worth having a look at that pack in that setup. Yeah, it is rounding up as I'm getting used to it. Quite often, as bad kit beers get worse as I'm drinking. This is actually, it is getting a little bit more tolerable. But yeah, it's still not a great beer. But yeah, like I said, that's the way you go. If kits are your thing, and you want to do yourself a red IPA, give it a whirl. You can certainly make worse. But just watch that carbonation level. But anyway, that's a Extractaganza number 37. The Cooper's Mr. Beer Red Rock IPA with Strata from the craft beer kit. Give it 2.5 out of 5. It's not terrible, but I can't really recommend it either. Anyway, you got any comments or any questions, stick them down the bottom. If you subscribe to the channel, thank you. If you aren't, hit the subscribe button. But for now, that's me. I'm done. So I'll see you in the next video. We're brewing beer, drinking beer, or talking beer. Good brewing.